For decades, humanity has looked toward the stars, wondering if we are truly alone in the universe. But what if the question is no longer, are we alone? What if the real question is, have we already been visited? Across the world, ordinary people have reported extraordinary encounters. Military officers, pilots, families driving through empty highways at night, each one describing the same impossible thing. Lights moving silently across the sky, craft that defy the laws of physics, and beings that do not belong to this world. Some of these encounters were dismissed as hoaxes. Others were explained away as weather balloons, flares, or military experiments. But a few cases remain deeply disturbing, not because they are proven, but because the witnesses never changed their stories. In 1947, something crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico. In 1961, a couple driving through a quiet American highway claimed they were taken aboard an alien craft. In 1980, U.S. soldiers stationed in England reported a glowing object landing inside a dark forest. And in 1997, thousands of people watched a massive triangular formation of lights silently glide across the Arizona sky. These are not just stories. They are some of the most chilling encounters ever reported. Moments when reality itself seemed to fracture and something unknown looked back at humanity. Tonight, we explore 4 of the most disturbing alien encounters ever recorded. Stories that continue to haunt witnesses, challenge science, and raise one terrifying possibility. Maybe the universe has already found us. Roswell Incident, the mystery that started it all. In the summer of 1947, the world was still recovering from the devastation of World War II. Nuclear weapons had changed humanity forever. Fear of new technologies, secret experiments, and unknown threats filled the air. Then something strange happened in the quiet desert of New Mexico, near a small town called Roswell. A local rancher named Mac Brazel discovered something unusual scattered across his land. Thin metallic debris, strange rubber-like material, and fragments unlike anything he had ever seen before. The pieces were light, almost weightless, yet strangely strong. According to Brazel, the material could not be cut, burned, or broken easily. Confused and concerned, he reported the discovery to local authorities. Soon after, the U.S. military arrived. Soldiers quickly collected the debris and sealed off the area. At first, the military made a shocking announcement. They claimed they had recovered a flying disc. Newspapers across America exploded with headlines. People began asking the same question. Had the United States just recovered an alien spacecraft? But within hours, the story suddenly changed. The military released a new statement. They said the debris was only a weather balloon. Nothing unusual, nothing extraterrestrial. Case closed. Or so they claimed. But many people were not convinced. Witnesses who had seen the debris insisted the materials looked nothing like a balloon. Years later, some military personnel even claimed they had seen something far more disturbing. According to later testimonies, strange bodies were allegedly recovered from the crash site. Small, humanoid figures with large heads and fragile limbs. However, these claims remain controversial and unconfirmed. Over the decades, the Roswell story only grew more mysterious. Some researchers suggested the debris may have come from a top-secret U.S. surveillance project called Project Mogul, an experiment designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests using high-altitude balloons.
Others believe the truth may still be hidden behind classified government files. What really crashed in the desert near Roswell in 1947? A weather balloon? A secret military experiment? Or something not from this planet? More than 70 years later, the mystery still refuses to disappear. Because sometimes, the official explanation only raises more questions. And the Roswell incident remains one of the most debated events in UFO history. A moment when the world briefly believed that humanity might not be alone. Betty and Barney Hill, the night that changed UFO history. On the night of September 19, 1961, an ordinary married couple began a long drive home through the quiet mountains of New Hampshire. Their names were Betty and Barney Hill. They had been visiting Niagara Falls and were returning to their home in Portsmouth. The road was empty. The forest around them was dark and silent. But something strange appeared in the night sky. At first, Betty noticed a bright star moving in an unusual pattern. It didn't behave like an airplane. It didn't blink like a satellite. Instead, it moved closer, slowly, deliberately. Curious and slightly uneasy, Barney stopped the car so they could observe the object through binoculars. What he saw would haunt him for the rest of his life. The object was not a star. It was a massive flying craft hovering silently above them. Barney later described a metallic disc with windows surrounding its rim. Inside those windows, he claimed he could see figures watching them, humanoid shapes, staring directly down at the couple. Terrified, Barney rushed back to the car. He shouted to Betty that they needed to leave immediately. They drove down the dark highway as fast as they could, but the strange object seemed to follow them. Soon after, something even stranger happened. Both Betty and Barney suddenly heard a series of loud buzzing sounds. Their car vibrated, and then everything went blank. When they became aware again, they were nearly 35 miles further down the road. Nearly 2 hours of time had vanished. They couldn't remember what had happened. At first, the couple tried to ignore the experience, but strange things began to occur. Betty started having vivid nightmares. In her dreams, she and Barney were taken aboard a strange craft. Small beings with large heads and dark eyes examined them. They performed medical tests, took hair samples, and even attempted communication. Barney suffered from intense anxiety and recurring nightmares as well. The couple eventually sought help from a psychiatrist. During hypnosis sessions, both Betty and Barney described remarkably similar memories. They believed they had been abducted by non-human entities. Barney described the beings as short, with gray skin, large heads, and enormous black eyes, a description that would later become the classic image of what many people call the gray alien. But the most fascinating detail came from Betty. During hypnosis, she recalled being shown a star map by one of the beings. Later, she attempted to draw it from memory. Years later, an amateur astronomer suggested the map might represent the Zeta Reticuli star system. Whether coincidence or something stranger, the Betty and Barney Hill story became one of the most famous alien encounter cases in history. Skeptics argue the memories may have been dreams or influenced by stress and hypnosis. Believers argue the consistency of their testimony suggests something far more mysterious. But one thing remains certain. That lonely highway in New Hampshire changed UFO history forever. Because after the Hill case became public, thousands of people around the world began reporting similar encounters that would shape the modern mythology of alien abductions. And the question still remains, what really happened to Betty and Barney Hill that night?
The Phoenix Lights, the night thousands saw the same thing. On the night of March 13, 1997, something extraordinary appeared in the skies above Arizona.
What began as a few scattered reports would soon become one of the most famous UFO events in history. Witnesses from across the state began reporting strange lights moving silently across the sky. At first, people thought they were seeing aircraft, but these lights behaved in ways no aircraft ever had. They moved slowly, perfectly synchronized, forming a massive V-shaped formation. And the strangest part, there was no sound. Drivers pulled their cars to the side of highways. Families stepped outside their homes. People across Arizona stared upward in disbelief, because whatever was flying above them was enormous. Some witnesses estimated the object to be over a mile wide, a dark triangular craft silently gliding across the night sky. Witnesses said the lights were positioned along the edge of the object, like markers outlining the structure of a gigantic ship. One eyewitness later described it as a solid craft blocking out the stars. Another said it moved with a calm, controlled motion, almost as if it were observing the city below. And then, the object passed directly over Phoenix, the largest city in Arizona. Thousands of people saw it. Residents reported the object drifting silently across the skyline. News stations began receiving phone calls from confused citizens asking the same question: what is that in the sky? Police departments were flooded with reports, but authorities had no explanation. Even more shocking, some trained observers reported seeing the object. One witness was a commercial airline pilot, another was a former military officer. Both insisted the object was unlike any aircraft they had ever seen. Later that night, a second event occurred. A series of bright lights appeared again in the sky south of Phoenix. These lights hovered in formation for several minutes before slowly disappearing. The event quickly captured national attention. The media dubbed it the Phoenix Lights. For years, debates continued. Some investigators claimed the lights were simply military flares dropped during training exercises, but many witnesses rejected that explanation. They insisted the lights they saw earlier that evening were connected to a massive triangular craft. Perhaps the most surprising reaction came from Fife Symington, the governor of Arizona at the time. At first, he publicly joked about the event, but years later, he admitted something unexpected. He too had seen the object, and according to him, it was enormous. To this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most mysterious UFO sightings ever recorded. Thousands of witnesses, multiple cities, and an object that appeared to move silently across the night sky. Was it a secret military technology, an atmospheric illusion, or something far more mysterious? Whatever it was, for a few unforgettable hours in 1997, the skies above Arizona held a secret the world still cannot fully explain.
The Rendlesham Forest Incident, Britain's Roswell. In December 1980, something strange happened in the quiet forests of eastern England. Near two U.S. Air Force bases, military personnel witnessed lights descending into the trees of Rendlesham Forest. At first, soldiers believed an aircraft might have crashed. Security patrols were immediately dispatched into the forest to investigate. But what they discovered would become one of the most controversial UFO encounters ever reported. As the patrol moved deeper into the woods, they saw a strange glowing object among the trees. Witnesses later described it as triangular in shape, metallic, covered with strange symbols. The object emitted bright-colored lights, blue, red, and white, and it appeared to be hovering slightly above the ground. One of the witnesses, U.S. Air Force officer Jim Penniston, claimed he approached the craft closely. According to his testimony, he even touched the surface of the object. He described the material as smooth and warm,
and the symbols engraved into the metal looked unlike any human language he had ever seen. Then suddenly, the object lifted silently into the air and disappeared into the night sky. But the story didn't end there. 2 nights later, another group of military personnel returned to the forest to investigate further. Among them was Charles I. Halt, the deputy base commander. While recording the event on an audio tape, Halt and his team witnessed strange lights moving through the forest. Some appeared to shine beams of light down toward the ground. Others moved rapidly across the sky. At one point, a bright object was seen projecting a narrow beam of light toward the nearby military base. Radar operators later reported unusual aerial activity during the same time period. Perhaps the most important evidence came from a document now known as the Halt Memo. This official report was written by Lieutenant Colonel Charles I. Halt and sent to the British Ministry of Defense. In it, he described the strange lights and unexplained aerial phenomena witnessed by multiple military personnel. Over the years, investigators have offered many explanations. Some suggest the soldiers misidentified the beam from a nearby lighthouse. Others believe the lights may have been meteors or military aircraft. But many of the witnesses strongly disagree. They insist what they encountered that night was not a natural phenomenon, not a lighthouse, and not any aircraft known at the time. To this day, the Rendlesham Forest incident remains one of the most mysterious UFO encounters ever documented. Unlike many UFO stories, this one involves trained military observers, official reports, and physical investigations at the scene. Was it a secret military experiment, a misunderstood natural event, or evidence of something far beyond human technology? The truth remains hidden somewhere in the shadows of Rendlesham Forest.
For decades, humanity has looked up at the night sky and asked a simple question: are we alone? From the deserts of Roswell to the forests of Rendlesham Forest, people across the world have reported encounters that defy explanation. Lights in the sky, objects beyond known technology, stories that refuse to disappear. Some call them hoaxes, some call them secrets hidden by governments, and some believe they are messages from something far beyond our world. Maybe one day the truth will finally be revealed, but until then, the question remains: are we truly alone in the universe, or have we simply not been listening carefully enough?